So my name's Nick Olberg, and I'm the co-founder of Streetpass Princeton. And basically, I'll give you my introduction in one moment, but I have to actually give someone a very important credit that was here last year, and that was Mr. Linston, because he actually started the network, and I'm going to make his story brief. Basically, he went to Japan, had Dragon Quest IX, and while he was in Japan, he was like, oh, this is great. I wish I could bring this back over to America and get results like this. So when I believe it was a year or two later, the 3DS got released, and he's like, I think I'm going to make a group. And you know what? I'm going to make a network. And basically, the network is like a phone book. A lot of people have different beliefs what the network is. And basically, me and we both talked about it. It's like a telephone directory. It's like, if I live in so-and-so neighborhood, I can look on the website, just type it in and see what it is, and hopefully it's there. But basically, the people that start these groups, they're people that want to have a StreetPass group. They're not affiliated with Nintendo in any way. I'm not affiliated with Nintendo. Every other group is not affiliated with Nintendo. It's all fan-based groups, and it just wants to bring gamers in their groups to get StreetPass tags, because we all know we're not going to have PAX East every single 5 minutes of our life, right? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, basically that, and we're going to go to the next slide. So that's my introduction. I actually been in Boston a couple of times. I was actually an intern at Boston Medical Center when I was in school for a while, but it was kind of brief and fun. And Trauma Center obviously is my favorite series. I played it since I was on the DS and all the way to Wii, and definitely Trauma Team, except for endoscopy, because I didn't know what the auto-retracting feature was, and I kept doing this the whole time, and basically, that operation took me over 2 hours. You can imagine how I felt. I wanted to get to the game. So we have our secret question, and the secret question,
what game developer made a Pauline edition of Donkey Kong?
Yes. Could you be a bit more specific in the person? Yes. So you get a Mario Tanuki Pearly Bead.
Why did he make it? No.
Okay, so that was my introduction. Now, Bobby, we're going to give you words. Oh, sorry. Bobby? Yeah. So I started StreetPass Princeton back in 2011. I went to the game launch at the local GameStop, and I saw how many people there were, so we decided to start. First in line. Yes, I was the first in line. I actually was waiting out in the cold for about 5 hours before the 3DS launched, so that was at the local GameStop. Our first event was at Panera. We had 25 people. Okay. Anything else about you? Okay, yeah, I'm the founder. I like Baden Kaitos, if anyone knows what that game is. Namco Bandai, when the hell are you going to bring another one out? I also like Phoenix Wright. Also, I have to say, when the 3DS was first released, I know this is probably really big. If anyone remembers, there was supposed to be Saints Row. I was really disappointed they didn't come out with that, because that would have been a great StreetPass feature. Because I mean, every little 12-year-old boy, of course, wants to do drive-bys. I mean, that's what you want to tell your mom. I want to go out, tell my mom, hey, I'm just going to go get some StreetPass tags, and then just walk off.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Debbie Bluesband. I'm the co-founder of StreetPass Long Island. And for those who don't know, Long Island is a suburban area just outside of New York City. So I actually used to be a member of I still am a member of StreetPass NYC, but when I moved back to Long Island, I thought, why not make a StreetPass group in my local area? So me and my boyfriend, Jeffrey, back there, he's doing video, we co-founded StreetPass Long Island for our local friends to play games with us. And if anyone's into Animal Crossing, I'm a huge Animal Crossing person. I'm the author of this blog called the Glux blog. If anyone's ever heard of Gluxbox, it's a pretty big website, got over 36,000 page views already. And I also got the Japanese 3DS, so I could play Animal Crossing Jump Out in advance. And my favorite game of all time is Super Mario RPG Legend of 7 Stars. Best game ever. Woo!
Hello everybody.
Connecticut, New Jersey, and especially Princeton. Shout out to Princeton out there. As for those who know me, I'm the guy that stands in line for all the Nintendo games when they first come out. I'm also an ambassador for the Nintendo community. I strive to pretty much try to get everything Nintendo exposed throughout the world, and pretty much here to help, the community expand. And thanks. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ryan Morrison. I'm a Nintendo developer in southern New Jersey with my partners Ryan and Tyler. We've made a couple of DS games so far. We're moving on to 3DS now, and we also do some Steam and iOS stuff. We started our studio back in 2007. It's hard to make a game, but it takes some time and it's a lot of fun. We originally started because we're Nintendo fans and we wanted to make games, so we did that. We're doing it. It's good. My favorite game series are probably Kid Icarus, Pikmin, but a big fan of the throwbacks to Donkey Kong and Mario and stuff. So, and my favorite game of all time is Rampart, which I will kill you in. Total confidence, right? So, just saying.
So let me tell you a little bit about my group. It's actually interesting because my group started later than most other groups. We started in August of 2012, so we were a little behind, so we're still trying to catch up to the rest of these big guys here. But like I said before, we were members of the StreetPass NYC group and then thought, why not make a group closer to home? We have some friends who do Smash Brothers tournaments, and so we figured we'd work together with him to kind of get the StreetPass and the Smash Brothers communities together. And we have an average age group of about 20 to 30, like mostly college, some younger, some a little older. And so we try to have monthly meetups. We usually play Mario Kart 7, Smash Brothers, and Pokemon. And we typically hold our events in comic book stores, video game stores, and we're trying to get into more malls across Long Island. Sometimes there are mall tours, and Long Island is big in malls, so we try to take advantage of whatever the gamers are going to in our local community. That's where we want to have our meetups. And comic book stores are really good because they usually have a lot of space. And our online community includes Facebook, Twitter, and we're also trying to get a forum up. And we have plans for Wi-Fi tournaments because Long Island's kind of a big place. It's about, I think, 120 miles long, so it's hard to get everybody together in the same place. So we do Wi-Fi as well so that everybody can get involved even if they can't make the long drive. And on that subject, social media is a good way to get people together to discuss games, talk about games, plan events. So we use our Facebook group predominantly because it's a little easier to use. Sometimes when you have a fan page, it doesn't always show up in people's news feeds on Facebook, which is like a major problem, unless people set notifications to get it. So the group shows up in the left-hand side of the website, so you can see when there's posts and you can check it faster. So people like to use groups too, but if you're starting up a group in your area, you can really just poll your members and see what they prefer and just cater to what they want, because that's really the best way to go. You can also reach out to other StreetPass groups in your local area to try to gain exposure. Maybe some of their fans are actually in your local area and they just didn't know about a group. So, if you, what I do is I go to StreetPass NYC and post some things about my events, and they have people who actually are from Long Island and they joined my group since then. So it's a good way to kind of network with other groups and get your name out there more. There's also websites like Twitter and Google+, it's really whatever your fan base, what your demographic likes to use, just stick with that, because that's going to give you the best exposure.
I do want to remind, though, that everybody on the website for the network, they generally have to have at least 20 to 25 likes on Facebook, and they have to have a Facebook, because that's basically how the network is based. But other than that, all the other resources like Twitter and Google, that's a free game. You can use it if you like or not.
Yeah, but Facebook is the #1 place that people go, so it's definitely good to have a presence on Facebook, whether it's a fan page or a group or both. Really whatever works for your group. Oh, and one important thing in terms of online presence. You have to be, especially if you're a StreetPass founder of your local group or an administrator, you have a responsibility to act professionally. And this is really important because with online, people can kind of say whatever they want, and you have to do a little damage control sometimes. So you have to be as professional as possible. And if you have an opinion about something, it's best to post your own name with that post so that it's not like a reflection of your entire group. It's more, this is what I think, so I'm going to write my name at the end.
Yeah, I started Streetpass Princeton. Anyone from New Jersey here? All right. So yeah, our first meetup was in Panera. We had a Dead or Alive tournament when Dead or Alive came out, and well, a month afterwards. We usually try to highlight games that are current around that time that come out. So like Mercenaries, Mercenaries event and stuff like that. We have Google Plus, which my brother runs every Sunday or Saturday usually. Yeah, it probably won't be this weekend because we'll probably be getting home at that time. But you get the idea. So anyway, Bobby said his favorite event is DOA. Mine was the anniversary. I actually made a whole bunch of perler bead sets. As you can see, the picture, that reflects everybody. So basically, whatever order you came in, that was what you had. And I also have made some Pushmo and Crashmo puzzles. And I've also helped out the Philadelphia group a little bit. I gave them a couple of Pushmo puzzles. So if you check there, you can actually see a whole bunch of Pushmo puzzles. I have like Mewtwo and Kid Icarus and Pit and like Eggplant Wizard, a whole bunch. So you can check on their site, on their Facebook page as well. So yeah, that was one of the perler bead sets. The Sonic set. It has like a Chow, Tail, Sonic, Knuckles, and a little like emblem thing. And basically what we want to highlight is that starting groups really is not easy. It's very difficult. We don't want to discourage you from starting a group, but don't think that if you just go on Facebook and you just start it up that you'll miraculously get popular. I mean, yes, the bigger cities have great results, but that's because they're in very big cities. So you have to try like 10 times harder. So our group has been trying very hard, and of course we have pretty good meetups. We will always like to improve, like every other group, but the important thing is just to be, of course, like Debbie said earlier, professional, and definitely be creative, because you don't want to just, do the same thing all over the time, like the same place, or the same kind of game. You want to highlight. Of course, don't exclude people because they want to play a certain game. If they want to play that game during the event, that's fine, but just let them know that, okay, this is the contest we have. If you want to play, you can play. Otherwise, play what you want, but we're not going to discriminate. So, also, next slide. Oh, sorry, secret question. What reward was given in Sonic Adventure Battle 2 for all emblems? His hand kind of went up.
Green Hill Zone is a playable stage.
And how many stages is that? What is it?
Green Hill Zone?
Green Hill Zone. How many stages of Green Hill Zone? Okay, come up.
Yay!
Has anyone here actually gotten that award? I have. We literally played that during the summer of like after 8th grade, and we played like 3 months straight to beat it. And we had like a game guide, and unfortunately the game guide lied about the Dr. Robotnik stage because it was more than what it said. And we're like, that game guide lied to us. So moving on. So has anyone played Mutant Muds yet? So I actually showed Jules our new Mutant Mud set. So as you can see from the picture, it has 5 enemies. So I do sets every single year. So that's basically what we have. It's going down at our pizza event in our 2nd anniversary. That's going to be in April. So you'll be able to buy it for like $20. It's going to be like a silent auction. And we're going to have Jules have a little letter to the gamer that buys it and be like, thank you for buying and supporting StreetPass Princeton by getting their perler beads. And thank you for playing Mutant Muds. Be sure to check out more games from Renegade Kids. Sincerely, Jules Washington.
Okay, so let's talk about StreetPass Arizona. Has anyone heard of StreetPass Arizona? They're actually really popular online. What their main strength, from what I can tell, is virality. And for those who don't know what that means, virality is when something that you make, like a meme or a video on YouTube, goes viral and people just like post it on Facebook everywhere and they get thousands and thousands of views. And that's one of the best ways to get exposure for your group, whether it's someone out of state, someone in your state, you know, anyone. It's good to get anyone and everyone as a fan of your page. So virality is really important. If you have a creative idea, definitely use that to get attention to your group. And StreetPass Arizona was founded by John Hernandez and Ty Marini. They're really great. They do so much stuff online with Facebook. If you follow StreetPass Arizona, you'll get all kinds of news, tips for games. They're really great with that. They're based out of Phoenix, Arizona. They hold events mostly at GameStops, and also they have a lot of college kids, so they do stuff around college campuses as well. And also restaurants, you know, people like to just get together and have some pizza. So, you know, you can be creative with your events. You don't have to be at a game store. You don't have to be at any specific place. It's just somewhere that most people can come to and want to have fun at. And so their meetup events include Mario Kart 7 and Kid Icarus Uprising. They have attended lots of different panels in their local area, specifically the Sabaton Con in 2011. I believe they also did something in 2012 as well. They have a Facebook page, Facebook group, and a Twitter. So they're using all the social media, popular social media sites available to them. And the largest recorded attendance at their meetup was over 80. And talking about virality with StreetPass Arizona, maybe you've heard of the Swap Note Me Maybe music video. It's extremely popular. They have over 55,000 views of that one video on YouTube. So it's a great way for them to make a name for themselves in the online community.
My favorite line is when the girl says, "Before I met you, I spent my play coins so much." Because it's so true. Before Find Me and Puzzle Swap, you always spend your coins until you come to events with hundreds of people.
It's a hysterical video. I definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't yet. And it really gained a lot of exposure for their group on Facebook and on YouTube. So it's definitely something to take a note of if you want to start your own group. Make a music video, you know, have fun with it. And in addition to that, I just want to mention that they have this idea that's still going on right now. It's called Me Profile Picture March. If you have a me and you want to make it your profile picture, you're basically a part of this event. It's an online event. It went super viral all over Facebook. As soon as someone, you know, started liking it, other people wanted to join in. And it's just a fun way, and in my group specifically, everyone seems to be participating. And when people talk on the group, it's just like me's down the line. It's so funny. It's really cute. And hosting an event online really opens up the possibility of getting new members from different areas and just to get more exposure for your group. So you can host online things like that, and you'll still get more people joining your group. Whether or not they're coming to a meetup, it's still good to have as many people contributing to your group and joining the conversation as possible.
So I'm just going to give you a brief overview of San Diego. Their group, obviously located in San Diego. The best part about this group, like Debbie said earlier about StreetPass groups working together, of course, if you know California, it has like hundreds of big cities. Well, not hundreds, but a couple of big cities. So you get the idea. You've got Los Angeles, you got Orange County, you got San Diego. That sort of like mixture just makes for the best meetups. And some of their meetups have been over 100, probably almost even hitting like 180, I believe, or possible. But yeah, you get the idea. Also, funny thing is that the previous founder, the people didn't feel like they were being well receptive through their group. It wasn't being well managed. So what happened was there were a couple of people, one of my friends that I'm now his name's 3DS Geeks, he let me know, like, basically what happened was their group wasn't being run well. So then it was like, you know, we let him know, and we're like, hey, dude, you know, you could do a much better job. And so they were like, you know what, if you're not going to do anything, we're going to take over. And that's what they did. And their group is fantastic now because that group is a betterment because the leader just didn't do a very good job. He didn't have time. So it always makes sure that the best person suits the job. It's not that you're trying to be mean or spirited or anything like that. It's about having the best results. And everybody wants to, of course, make their group better. And so that kind of goes with the next part is collaboration. So they have great collaboration. They work together, not only with their media group members, but also with other people in their fellow StreetPass groups. And as you can see, they have a really awesome cake. It's pretty awesome. We had a Pokeball one at ours in February for one of our admins. His name's Chris. He actually had a Pokeball cake for his birthday. So we like to make our members feel important. So So anyway, yeah, they had a really great cake during, I think it was December event, and their events are basically like 40, 50 people, considering the previous 5. So I'd take 40 or 50 any day of the week, honestly. And remember, just treat your group members with respect, and hopefully everyone just coexists with each other.
Okay, so let's talk about StreetPass New York City. They're one of the first StreetPass groups that really went big, like early on. Founded by Jordan White in the New York City area. Average group member is 18 to 28. It's kind of all the same demographic, that college age, late high school, and people in their 20s. And we're welcome to have people older as well, you know. So they hold a lot of events around New York City, specifically in Nintendo World, because of course, why wouldn't you? It's an amazing place. They have amazing launch events. They get early access to some games, so it's definitely a good location for them, but they're also trying to branch out and go to other locations as well. Meetup events include mostly launch events, but they're also doing, they had a holiday party in Times Square, so you know, they're doing other things as well. And they also usually have a lot of giveaways at their events. Sometimes they have meet and greets with game developers and things like that. Their online community includes a Facebook page, a Facebook group, a meetup group, and Twitter. So there's also the site called meetup.com. If you're not really into Facebook, you can use meetup.com, but there is a fee if you're posting events. You have to keep that in mind.
The Meetup site has a Nintendo 3DS platform for when Nintendo set up the Kidigarus multiplayer battle day. That's still active and
Oh,
it's
really?
free. You don't need to pay for those booths. I run the booth. We're in Boston. We're the largest remaining booths in StreetPass Boston Park.
Oh, okay.
Fantastic.
I personally haven't used meetup.com because I was under the impression you had to pay.
Meetup.com/Nintendo 3DS, and you can set up one for free in your city now.
Got it. That's great news. Thank you. And so, StreetPass NYC, they usually do have a lot of people. They're in a humongous city in the large metropolitan area, so they actually have attendees up to 120 people at their last Fire Emblem event. And so, talking more about that, they usually do collaborate with local businesses to help with their local events. And of course, Nintendo World is an obvious choice for them. It's a central location in Midtown Manhattan, and they work with the store staff to launch Nintendo titles. They also collaborate with brands such as Nintendo, Square Enix, Pokemon Company, and others to get special access to games in advance and things like that. But don't let this intimidate you, because not everyone has this kind of connection, and you can still have awesome meetup events without all of this. You can still have your own launch events at your local GameStop or whatever video game store is near you. It's just, you know, geographically convenient. Why wouldn't you go to Nintendo World?
Basically, just be creative.
Yeah.
Think out of the box. You know, don't try to do the same thing
Yeah.
over and over again. You know.
Try to have fun with your town. You know the local landmarks in your town. Go to different parks, different schools. You know, every town has something to offer. So just try to take advantage of what your town has and use it to the best that you can.
And Triforce actually has a question that he wants to ask.
How many of you guys in here by show of hands have been in New York City? Okay, all right. And with those people who've been in New York City, how many of you guys have actually gone to Nintendo World? Okay, so they're well familiar with the StreetPass team in New York. Okay, well then, the last question is, how many of you guys have been involved in one of the StreetPass meetups in Nintendo World in New York? All right. So when you guys get a chance, they usually have one on what, Fridays?
Yeah.
Yeah, Friday
I
meeting.
believe so. Yeah, they have like Friday Fire. I don't know if that still goes on.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
might be
it's still
doing
good.
something new starting.
They might start something new with the next game. Not really Luigi's Mansion, I'm sure.
But each game that comes out, each new Nintendo game that comes out, they usually have a meetup on Friday, and it gives you an idea of how the StreetPass community is running in New York City. So if you're in New York City during that time, you can stop by Nintendo World and you can check it out.
Yeah, definitely check them out. Another thing that StreetPass NYC did is that they branched out. They went to the Apex tournament series this past January, which actually isn't even in New York City, it's in New Jersey, but it's close enough, and they have a nice presence there, and by going to New Jersey, they're able to gain more exposure, and people in New Jersey who might be willing to go to New York City for events were able to find out more about them and join in with them. And you know, Apex is the largest tournament series for Smash Brothers in, I think, in the entire world.
Yeah,
so
it's
a
like
great
the
place to get
largest.
exposure.
It's the largest competition for Smash Brothers of Melee, Brawl, and Brothers. and it's a fantastic event to go to. Our group, Princeton, was also there. We sold tons of perler beads, and we did something crazy. We raffled off Mario's 3D Land 3DS, and basically at the end of the day, I was like, okay, Bobby, we're gonna double the amount of tickets. We're gonna take the tickets from 1, and we're gonna put it to 10 for everyone you buy. And then a while later, we doubled it to 20, and then within the last hour, we're like, okay, we're gonna go crazy, 40. So I milked the ticket raffle idea to get as many sales as possible. So it was fantastic.
And then Bobby had to count them all.
Yes, Bobby had to count the tickets. Sorry.
How many of you guys experienced learning academically through video games growing up in your life? Okay, so everybody. Would you guys agree with me by saying this, that Nintendo has taken initiative to put a lot of educational references in their video games throughout the course of the time that you guys have raised playing video games? Now, someone brought up a question, and this is how the whole education thing started. Why in The Legend of Zelda, Link doesn't speak when we're in a time where technology allows us voice actors? And I think that Nintendo purposely does not put voices in any of their characters, which pretty much influences us to read. And anybody who's played any of a lot of the Nintendo games growing up from the NES till now, you've noticed that there's a lot of reading. So I've been out of the country for about 3 months now, from January, and I just got back yesterday into the United States, and I went into the Caribbean islands, and I brought my Nintendo Wii U with me, and I went into one of the schools, and I was showing them Nintendo Land, Tetris, Trauma Center, Brain Age, and the kids loved it, and they got so involved and engaged with the type of educational games that they offer in the Nintendo systems. And that made me wonder, how many people in here want to grow up and will actually be an actual teacher? Any teachers in here? Okay, so we have like librarian teachers. Okay, so we have like several people in here who want to be teachers. Imagine if Nintendo could build an infrastructure, an online infrastructure using the Nintendo 3DS or the Wii U, where your me is actually a teacher, and you can teach online virtual classes for people who can't afford to go to actual schools or get to schools. They can have a system at home and they can use Wi-Fi and they're being taught virtually. How many people would be interested in a job like that? Okay, that's a good show of hands. So pretty much we wanted to talk about the different ways that Nintendo games can educate people. Can anyone give a story on what game they felt gave them, the best experience in being educated?
For me, it would be Trauma Center.
Oh, well, yeah, actually, because he spoke about it earlier. But anybody else? Yes.
Carmen Sandiego.
Carmen Sandiego. Another
That
game?
game.
Professor Layton. Anybody else in the blue?
How about Luigi? Oregon Trail, definitely.
The guy in the blue? Phoenix Wright. And you? Sid Meier. Sid Meier, yes. So as you guys can see, a lot of Nintendo games have educated people throughout their lifetime growing up, and we're looking to try to push the envelope in the future to come with a lot of Nintendo games, and try to get it where it's more hands-on. It's not just non-playable characters created in video games, but we would like to get some people who can be more active in it through the Nintendo Wii's. Just by a show of hands, what do you guys think about that project? Yay or nay?
Yay.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Can we get a stronger yay on that?
There we go. That's better. Oh yeah. So while I was down there, after that class meeting, the Minister of Education for that island, which is associated with their government, actually wants to get Nintendo involved in their education system, where they want to spread the Nintendo Wii U and the 3DS throughout all of the Caribbean, which services about 60 million people. And there's a Nintendo. Anyone knows about Nintendo Latin America? Anybody in there? No, they don't. Yeah. Well, Nintendo has a division in Latin America, and that they're actually now growing so they can service people in the South America and the Caribbean islands. So this is definitely something good. So anybody in here who's planning on having children later on, just know that Nintendo will take care of your children in terms of education, so you don't have to worry about that.
Next, we have Mr. Morrison to speak.
Hi. It's really exciting to be here and meet these communities as you guys come around. It reminds me a lot of when I was a kid playing Nintendo for the first time. We'd all get together and kind of hang out and stuff like that. And it's just exciting to see, as a developer, that you're this excited still even about little things like getting together and meeting each other and talking about games. So thank you all for coming out to things like this. This is a lot of fun. So Island Officials, our first game came out in 2009. It's called Hands-on Tangrams. It is an education game using tangram puzzles. Anybody? Tangram puzzles, second grade? Yeah, 7 shapes makes anything, absolutely. So we made the game. It was very simplistic, pretty straightforward puzzle, 100 puzzles, 10 different levels, pretty fun. So we sold a bunch of them. It's pretty exciting, and it was our first game that came out. Right now, those of you who are sitting, which is all of you, you got a postcard on your seat that shows you our next game that's going to be hitting Kickstarter in the next week. It's called Orion's Odyssey. It's the spiritual successor of Tangrams, and it'll be rolling to Kickstarter. So we finished this game about a year ago, and as you might have guessed, the 3DS has pretty much crippled DS in the retail stores, right? You guys have been to stores and you see DS games going from shelves like this to shelves like this to end caps to like being thrown at the front counter right next to Slim Jims. You know, and they're like, please just get rid of them now. So the problem is we didn't see a lot of advantage to making the game on 3DS, and we continued making it on DS, which we knew was a gamble. We did our due diligence. We went around to pretty much every publisher known to man and some not, and we asked them if they'd go for it, and they're like, no. They're like, retailers aren't buying DS games, so we can't spend the money on them. So we did more research, and we found out how much money it actually costs to make a game. It's a lot, which is odd. There's certain things that Nintendo makes you jump through, you know, the right way. It should be that way. But so we're doing a Kickstarter. We found a publisher already who's willing to partner with us as long as we pay for production. Shocking, right? They're all about it. They're like, sure, we'll do it with you, which is exciting. But we have to raise $85,000 in order to get the game made. So with your support, hopefully you'll look into it. And Orion's Odyssey is a pattern blocks adventure game. We went from tangrams to pattern blocks. But it really tells the story of our main character, Orion the robot, and how he's very helpful. He's not helpful. And he comes to Earth. The first thing he does, he meets a cow and makes him a samurai helmet. Because he needed one. You know, it makes sense in the story. It doesn't make sense in the story. But it's a lot of fun. We based it on a lot of buddy comedies and stuff like that. But on the card also, we have our other games coming out. In addition, we do some tabletop gaming. And last year, we made a game called Languini, which is you take word parts and you make up fake words, and then you make up fake definitions, and you decide whose is best. So it's a little apples to apples, a little balderdash, lots of fun, good party game. We're going to be giving these away today, right?
Yes, we will.
Which is
in the Q&A portion.
very cool, very cool. But it's really cool. And after the panel, anybody who'd like to talk to us about different ideas of bringing more things to StreetPass especially, we're really excited about it. In addition to the projects we're working on, we're starting to do concept mode for a couple of projects on 3DS. So if you guys want to chat with us, we'll be outside across the way after Q&A and all that stuff. But, anything else I have to talk about?
How about StreetPass? What were you thinking about StreetPass for 3DS?
I love it for 3DS. It actually, so, I mean, you know, friend codes, right? You know, like, it was a really good attempt. It made sense how they were doing it. From a developer standpoint, we're like, yay. And then 3DS came out and StreetPass hit, and all of a sudden we were like, yeah! You know, it's a little bit better, right? Because it's a lot easier. It really takes little to no effort. It's what friendship should be, right? Oh, no. It's not what friendship should be, but no, we love it, and we love the little things that different game companies are doing, especially the ones that are putting a little more thought into it than others. But we're definitely baking up a couple of fun things to do in our 3DS games that'll be hitting. So, yeah.
So I want to talk about Indonesia real quickly. They actually posted a video on our StreetPass wall, and they're like, please post this in your panel. And I was like, well, it's 4 minutes long, and I kind of would eat eat up a lot of time, but I'll definitely mention your group. So here they are. They're actually a really great group. I actually talked to them. They have a great community, and one of the best things is they're similar to NYC. They have a lot of collaboration with sponsors and other people. They have like a bunch of like free sponsors. They have like Indonesia games and all this stuff, and it really does help a lot to really strengthen that bond between your group and others, because really what a network is not just you being closed off. It's like you come to PAX East, you learn about the StreetPass panel, then someone else learns about the StreetPass panel from you, and then it kind of like diverges out. It just all goes out everywhere, and that's what is so great about this panel, because now you can take that and move on with the StreetPass panel. You have a secret question. Hands down, I'm reading first. So the question is, actually Debbie, can you read it?
Sure. Ocarina of Time 3D remake for 3DS featured hidden artwork Easter eggs from what other game in the Legend of Zelda franchise?
Okay, put your hands down again. Now.
The guy in the gray, right here, up in front.
Yes? Yes? Yes. Come up to claim your prize. Link Bunny from Link to the Past. So definitely milestone anniversaries. They're a great way to make sure, that's why we're doing an anniversary. Always do something that's not the ordinary, do something that's out of the ordinary, because you want people to remember your group, especially on an anniversary. You don't want to just do something that's like very typical, like just play a game and move on. You want to have like a bunch of stuff going on. It's powerhouse. It's not like PAX, obviously, but you want it to be fun. So, move on.
Okay, so me, I think this is the fun part. So, how many guys in here, I'm sorry, how many gamers are in here are very competitive? Show of hands. All right. This is good. So, anybody know about the esports scene and competitive gaming stuff like League of Legends, Halo, Gears of War, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and so forth? All right. So, the problem here that I see is that there's all these video competitive gaming tournaments that's going on, and Nintendo is kind of absent. But Nintendo was one of the forefathers for, competitive gaming. Anybody remember the Nintendo Power Fest? Nobody remembers that? Yeah. So, perhaps I'm just 1,000 years old right now, but the Nintendo Power Fest was something that was started back in the late 80s, right after Twin Galaxies created their first video game world championship, which was broadcast on ABC television. Since that time, competitive gaming has grown, and it is now a multi-million-dollar industry, and it is looking to become bigger. What a lot of people don't know was that in 2010, well actually from 2005 to 2010, Super Smash Bros. Was in Major League Gaming, which is MLG, and they were giving out tens of thousands of dollars for the prizes for the games. And now we're at a point where League of Legends is giving away $8 million this year in competitive gaming. You can win $8 million. So, which is bigger than a lot of jobs out there. So, we need to find out where is Nintendo stance in it. So, my question is, by a show of hands, how many people are waiting for a Smash Brothers game for the Wii U and the 3DS? Exactly. And if, well actually, not if, but when Nintendo makes this game, how many of you would actually compete in video game tournaments with those games? Well, any competitive Nintendo game that they make, because like I can see, well, even though Capcom makes this, Monster Hunter can be a competitive game. Oh, Pokemon. Well, actually, that was at Apex. And Pokemon was at Apex. In fact, Pokemon, Mario Kart, and what else?
I believe they had Kid Icarus.
And Kid Icarus, yes. Those three games were all at Apex. You won cash prizes and everything. And over each year, or each event, it becomes bigger and bigger. But we want to get it to a level where it's going to make a lot of money. And as I was saying, while I was at St. Martin over the weekend, put in Super Smash Brothers Melee and Brawl, and each of the tournament is $3,000 cash payout for the top 8 for both games. But coming back to the States, I'm going to try to work on getting the new Smash Brothers U and even the Smash Brothers on the 3DS into competitive gaming where sponsors will pick it up. Yes?
I actually think that right now it's currently a working title through Nintendo.
Actually, it's through Namco. Nintendo's the publisher. Namco is going to be the people that's going to be actually doing the game.
And I believe this the same person that's doing like Kid Icarus is actually there too.
Yeah.
At the end, they wanted to finish the Kickers before you started, and then
Of
if
course.
you recall how slow Brawl was in development, Nintendo thought that they stop it out.
Yeah, I believe so.
So, yes.
From what I've heard, I've heard that it would be cross-compatible if they make it, so you would be able to play against people who use or the 3DS and vice versa.
Well, so far that's speculation, but that would be something nice. That would be a great addition to it.
It was cited as something as a goal for the game
Oh, as a goal.
to increase compatibility between 3DS and Wii U. And I think that hopefully will help the 3DS be taken seriously as a competitive platform once the new Wii U version inevitably gets into competitive gaming.
Well,
Well, I just want to remind everyone we got to be brief because we want to have the Q&A portion, so just don't forget. Try first continue.
so the 3DS is actually a competitive platform. The issue is that nobody actually structures an actual scene for it. Every time you guys, how many people have been to the last 3 PAX East? All right, so you guys all know that there's a LAN for the 3DS, and before that, the DS. And every year they have DS and 3DS tournaments, whether it be Tetris, Mario Kart, or whatever the case may be. But no one decided to put those into a structure where you can actually have a competitive scene. You go to this tournament, you can qualify, and you can win money. And my goal here is to get information from the community so that I can, put it together and submit it to Nintendo to see if they can foster and create their own esports league for their particular games, in which Nintendo can put out, cash prizes and things like that. I remember when Brawl first came out, it was in New York. Did anyone go to that 1,000-man Brawl tournament for the launch? It was 4 cities. It was Miami, Chicago, LA, and New York. And they all qualified, and they came down to the launch in New York City. And they had this huge tournament, and the winner got a crystal Nintendo Wii. It was made in crystal. That was Korean DJ. He won. He beat Dyer in the grand finals. But you guys have given me a lot of information on this, and this is good. So I'm going to package that up and send that off to Nintendo. But look out for Nintendo and esports in the near future.
So I'm going to just talk about DC because Linson created the network and this group. It's a fantastic group. They are really awesome people. I actually sent out a bunch of Kirby's to him for one of his events. He was like, oh, it would be nice if you give us some Kirby's. I was like, sure, I'll give you a bunch of Kirby's. They're actually really easy to make because it's only like 3 colors. So anyway, they have really great events. They focus on like historical areas such as like Smithsonian and the Washington Monument was like one of their first meetups. I'm not sure. And so anyone go to the Art of Video Games exhibit? Did anyone buy this book? I'm not giving it out, by the way. I know, I'm sorry. But I just wanted to show it off. So this is a fantastic book. Some of the people that actually wrote the book were there. I believe Chris Milicinos, who made the book, and then Mike Micah, who gives like a preface at the beginning. He's actually was supposed to be here, but he had, I think, GDC. Yeah, so. Mr. Morrison's actually really good friends with Mike. So, next. So, LA, they're also a really great group that I wanted to mention. They were founded just pretty much the same time as most groups were, and they're also a really great group because they're in San Diego, Orange County, all those places. And Mario Kart is basically their favorite event, which is the next slide. So Mario Kart is like their biggest event. They've host like over 12 events for Mario Kart, and they have this really big trophy and names like on it for every month that they have it. And it's fantastic. I wish I could go, but I live in Los Angeles. Maybe someday. But yeah, they're fantastic. So we're gonna go up to our next group events that we just want to shout out here. So StreetPass Princeton, our next event is gonna be at Pizza Star at April 14th from 12 to 6. And we're basically going to have perla beads, we're gonna have trophies, we're gonna have really awesome cake. And we're gonna try to get some live music. I'm actually hiring this piano player from like one of our local colleges that actually goes to school for like music and stuff. So it's gonna be fantastic. And this is why I'm telling you, because you guys here is the reason why this panel exists. I mean, without you, this panel would not be here right now. I mean, this is the reason why I made all those individual perla beads. And I just want you to know that everyone got a perla bead. It basically affects that you were within the 100, or possibly someone skipped out of line and basically forgot their prize. But basically, I want you to go on our Facebook and Twitter, we have them right there, and share our event as best you can. And I know Chuck and Conroy, I know you will help us out. So definitely help us out, and you got a chrono plan. So I can only ask you guys so much to help share our events. I know if you don't live in New Jersey, I don't care, I just want to get it viral. I really want to try, okay? Please help me. Thank you.
And just briefly, I don't want to take up too much time with this, but our next event for StreetPass Long Island is going to be a birthday party at Dave & Buster's on April 28th. And it's just a lot of our group members have birthday in April, including myself, so we're going to have a birthday party. And our other big plan is still in the works right now. We're talking to every StreetPass group we can get in touch with across the globe to try to put together a StreetPass Wi-Fi Olympics, where we're going to have different StreetPass groups competing against each other to see who's got the best players for Mario Kart, Kid Icarus, Luigi's Mansion when it comes out. We're going to try to incorporate all the different Wi-Fi games and make it Olympics to see really who is the best for bragging rights. So stay tuned and check out StreetPass Long Island for more details as they come out.
So we just want to give these groups shout-outs. We just didn't have time to put them on. So basically, we got the Philadelphia, Arkansas, Orange County, Dubai, Melbourne. If you don't know, Nintendo of Australia actually gave shout-outs to all the Australian groups and free prizes. Hopefully, Nintendo of America and Europe will also recognize groups as well here and Europe. And just check out all the list. Boston is a great group, of course. Sicily, that's my mom's home country. Germany, my dad's. So we got all these other places, Ottawa, Seattle, it's a great group. Salt Lake City, Inland Empire, Denver, Mexico City's like one of the biggest, like 5,000, Indianapolis, and Chicago.
So check them all out. You know, you can be a fan of all of these groups. You don't have to be in their local area, and you can still contribute to their conversations.
And they might even have online events as well.
Exactly.
So now we have Q&A. The first prize that we're giving away will be this Zelda poster along with a copy of Tanagrams. So the first one to answer a question, to ask a question, we have time for Q&A? One question. Wow. Okay, anybody who wants to ask one question, hurry up. I don't know how to do this. Should I pick randomly? I'll pick the guy with the sunglasses. What's your question? Or are you, I'm sorry. I feel so bad. Okay. If it makes you feel any better, you're gonna win the poster after you ask the question.
Just because since StreetPass Boston is here, what would be the best way to go about, maybe making it or get more involved? And how can we bring more of that here, not just the family?
Well, basically, the main thing is, like I said earlier, similar to San Diego, is talk to the group leader. If he won't budge, be like, hey, you're not stepping up, you're not doing your game. We can do better. It's dead. So start over. That's all you can do. I mean, you know what they say, Animal Crossing New Leaf. Start a new leaf.
Let me give you guys an advice. Let me give Boston an advice here.
Try first to give Boston advice. What would
I'm going to give Boston an advice. You guys have PAX East. Go to the lounge area with the 3DS and meet up there and start your network.
Yeah, you basically have everybody right here. You have, like, everybody who's in Boston area, so there's definitely no excuse. But I mean, I don't want to say anything.
We have a group.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, and maybe the problem is the person that founded it probably was like, I don't care about my 3DS anymore, so I'm just like, So that probably happened.
You could also try starting up a new Facebook page, and then, and also then I would contact Facebook and let them know that the other page is delinquent, that there's no.
It was already gone, somebody deleted it.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's.
So
I
wait,
think
they
that's-
deleted.
StreetPass Boston page, so I started a new one in concert with my 3DS meetup group.
Did you contact the directory to get your thing like switched in the directory?
It's gone. The name was free.
Yeah, Mr.
Okay.
Mr. Linson basically.
Not to cut you off. Anybody here in Boston that wants to support the Boston Street Pass Network, talk to that guy right there. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
He's the guy that looks like he wants to be in charge. He got things going.
Next meetup is 2 o'clock outside the handbell lounge tomorrow.
There you go. Your first
Okay,
meetup.
and you want to get your prize.
Thank you guys for coming out. Our time is up.